Hey everyone, it's Brandon with FastDataScience.ai, and I want to say happy Friday. Friday is my favorite day of the week, and I want to welcome you to my first edition of This Week in AI. This is a show that I wanted to put together, or a series of videos, I should say, that I wanted to put together, where I basically give you my take on a couple of key headlines that I find throughout the week related to data science, machine learning, or artificial intelligence. As you know, if you've been following me, my videos, or on some of my Medium posts, one of the ways in which I collect data is through my email address. One of the types of data that my email address collects are Google Alerts. So my Google Alerts collect top headlines, usually the top 10 headlines of every day in the areas of AI, ML, and data science. I then have a script, a little bot that I wrote that basically goes into my email each week, pulls out that week's list of alerts, and then analyzes them and tees up for me some of the top articles or top headlines based off of either popularity or similarity across the week, things that show up a lot together throughout the week mean something important to me. And then I take a look at those, identify the ones that I want to drill into that interest me. And so this is my opportunity to give you my take on those, talk through why I think they're interesting, why I think they're useful for data science and thinking about data science application. And then I also end with one article that really caught my eye, something that's super interesting, super weird, super funny in the space that I want to share with you, break down a little bit further, and hopefully inspire you, give you some ideas as well. So welcome to my first episode, and today is January 7th, 2022. It is the end of the first week of the new year. Congratulations for making through it. A lot of firsts for me. This is another one of them. Hopefully there have been a lot of firsts for you as well. So let me introduce you on this inaugural episode of This Week in AI to my bot. So here's my bot. I thought Scrapey was a little bit too obvious. He scrapes my email. So I decided to go a little bit more creative and name him G Scrapey, since he scrapes my Gmail. Yeah, maybe I need to work on my creativity. Okay, but let's get to it. So G Scrapey is going to tee up some of the core headlines or key headlines that caught my eye this week in AI. Okay, so the first round are a couple of articles actually that have to do with application of artificial intelligence in specific industries. These were written by Drew Robb over at Datamation. And the first one has to do with artificial intelligence in insurance. The second one has to do with artificial intelligence in manufacturing. In both articles, Drew drills into some of the top 4 or 5 use cases for those industries that AI is having a significant impact on. Some of the things that I find really interesting here are chatbots, customer service, on-demand insurance. Sounds like a really interesting concept. Helping to increase the safety of plants in manufacturing, and also the idea that we can continue to use AI to introduce what's called zero-touch manufacturing. The idea that artificial intelligence can help to reduce some human errors that happen in that manufacturing process. At a high level, the way that I see both of these articles is they're a great source for ideas. Ideas for data scientists, data science leaders in these spaces, and folks interested in the field who want to build portfolios with their data science skills. These are some great topics that have clear business application that may give you some ideas for building out some proof of concepts or examples that you could add to your portfolio, talk about, and use to attract customers, to attract new job prospects, whatever it may be. So these provide a lot of really good examples of some of those different areas in which AI is being applied to business. And so they give us some really good ideas on how we might be able to build our portfolio in a way that's not just a portfolio of, Acme XYZ company who wanted to predict something that's not useful anymore. Instead, we're looking at real use cases for real industries. So hopefully you take a look at these. By the way, all the links for the articles that I talk about are going to be included in the video description. One more thing too, these videos are unedited, so if I make mistakes, you're just going to have to bear with me. Okay, the second headline that I found really interesting this week was that the worldwide healthcare AI industry is expected to reach $44.5 billion by 2026. That is a lot of money. In this article, the number one takeaway for me was that a lot of the volume that's happening, a lot of the innovation that's happening, is happening in provider offices. providers, if you know anything about your doctor, those doctors often work in private practices, particularly here in the United States. They work in private practices, and a lot of times those private practices don't have the time, don't have the skills, or don't have the energy really, or the motivation to innovate. In fact, a lot of provider offices are still using, they're still using faxes. So the need to digitize provider offices, bring them up to the 21st century, bring them into the year 2022 and beyond, means that there's a lot of work to be done to get those providers on board, to really inject opportunities for them to start digitizing their practice, using electronic medical record technology, things of that nature. And what happens as we do that, as we see those movements, is those become opportunities for artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning to really have an impact on the healthcare industry. There are 4 core areas in this article that it introduces that relate to how artificial intelligence is impacting the healthcare market, how it's contributing to that $44.5 billion valuation over the next few years. Actually, gosh, that's only 4 years away, 2026. Whew. Sometimes it feels like 1990 was 10 years ago. So 4 of those areas: increase in patient volume and complexities associated with data. As I mentioned, a lot of the digitization happening in providers' offices is really giving opportunity for artificial intelligence to come in, use that data, transform it, make it informative, useful, insightful, and help solve a lot of problems in healthcare. Number 2, the shrinking operational workforce in healthcare facilities. There are fewer and fewer people who are qualified to do healthcare in healthcare facilities. So there is a need for us to figure out how to use artificial intelligence to begin to automate some of the things, to augment some of the places where we're missing some of those key professionals. So a great example of that would be using artificial intelligence to maybe identify tumors in an X-ray. Number 3, technological advancement and innovation in AI is influencing the end users of the market. So that's you and me, how we go about seeking healthcare facilities and services. There's an expectation that we have, the Amazonization, say that 5 times fast, of the world, where we expect self-service. We expect things to be recommended to us. We expect things to be easy, usable, and the healthcare market is probably the antithesis of that. There's a tremendous opportunity for AI to really impact how users experience the healthcare market. And then number 4, rising investment in drug discovery. We're seeing all kinds of innovation in the AI space around how researchers and big companies who are involved with drug markets are using sophisticated artificial intelligence algorithms and techniques to mine data related to how our biology works, and then take that information and turn it into therapies, drug therapies that can then be used to solve all kinds of new potential problems. COVID is a great example of that, where data science is really having a big impact. If you jump over to my Facebook group, I posted an article a few days ago about how data scientists are really having an impact on the COVID pandemic. Okay, moving on. The last area that my bot recommended to me this week was the age of hyper-accelerated AI adoption. We are in it. We are a part of it. AI is everywhere. It is becoming ever more ubiquitous every day. And we're seeing that happen for 4 main reasons, according to this article. Simulation in virtual worlds. Facebook just announced that they're building out the metaverse. Facebook is one of the lead researchers, researching companies that has really led to a lot of innovation in artificial intelligence, and they're going all in on simulation, virtual worlds, trying to make those experiences useful and relevant to us in our day-to-day activities. Natural language understanding, chatbots, and virtual agents are getting more and more sophisticated. These are largely due to the mega language models that are being produced by companies like OpenAI, who released GPT-3, which we'll talk about in the next article. But these mega language models are basically generative models that try and predict the next series of words based on an input of a series of words. And these models have billions, and even in Microsoft's case, sometimes trillions of trainable parameters. They're massive models. They cost millions of dollars to train. That means they're also super sophisticated. They can create a conversational experience for users that feels real and feels as though you're really talking to a human. Another big area of AI adoption and hyper accelerated AI adoption is in programmable cars. No, Musk, we still don't have our self-driving cars, and we may still be a ways off from that because of the complexity due to driving around other humans, but AI is still becoming a really big player in all of our cars, our driving experience. It's helping to augment that driving experience, and it will continue to do so and advance there, especially as we see these new electrical cars hit the market. Last area that AI adoption is hyper accelerated or being hyper accelerated by is in automated ordering and customer service. Amazon is a great example of this. They've really created an intelligent machine for delivering, ordering, and even customer service as well. But we're seeing that trickle down into a lot of other spaces. And so there's a lot of opportunity and innovation happening that's bringing AI to us faster, more ubiquitously. Is that a word? I don't know. And it's just really having a tremendous impact. Okay, so let's say bye to Scrapey, and let's go ahead and talk about what caught my eye, or shall I say, who caught my eye. So this article really caught my attention this week. This article comes out of Vogue magazine. Vogue is a fashion magazine, not a technology magazine. Part of the reason why it caught my eye. But what was really cool and really interesting was the headline. So Lior Cole is the model combining artificial intelligence with religion. Say what? Yeah. Lior Cole, a supermodel, is also an entrepreneur. And she's not just any entrepreneur, she's an entrepreneur in the artificial intelligence space. And she's using tools and technologies of AI to build new companies that are, in her case, addressing human motivation, positivity, through her understanding and her devotion to religion. Really interesting concept. Let's break it down. Sorry for the spelling error there. It should be Lior. But nevertheless, Lior Cole, she is a supermodel who has a degree in information science, who is also, in her spare time, when she's not supermodeling, building Robo-Rabbi. What's Robo-Rabbi? Well, Robo-Rabbi is a bot that is capable of communicating with users, learning about those users' personalities, and then taking that information and delivering motivational activities back to that person based off of Robo-Rabbi's understanding of the Quran. Really interesting use case here that Miss Cole is developing. She's developing all of this, it appears from the article, on the backbone of GPT-3. So it's not like she's developing a brand new language model. She's leveraging GPT-3, which, for those of you who are interested, OpenAI has developed an API that you can use that gives you access to the GPT-3 model. You just have to request for that access. I got access to it last year, played around with it. Super sophisticated, a lot of fun. Here's a really great example of what I think is a unique use case for AI technologies. The other cool thing about this article is not only is it inspiring for women and for supermodels and people alike, but it's also inspiring because it shows that AI technologies can have an impact on our business world, even if you don't know how to build models themselves, or you don't know how to, say, for example, even code in this case. And so what I really like about this is that it's really showing how artificial intelligence technologies are really democratizing how many people can access and use those technologies, even train new models and deliver those models in their own use cases, really just further emphasizing the need and importance for everybody to start to understand how these conceptually work under the covers so that we can understand what their potential is in business application and other places. So I want to say thank you very much for joining me today. That's all I've got for you. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you also tune in with me next week. Please leave comments. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. I'm always happy to adjust things as I go. This is my first, this week in AI. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll be talking soon. Bye, everybody.